Hello, everyone. My name is Gabby, and I have a problem. Actually, I have two problems. The first is that I'm realizing I'm genuinely enjoying buying Japanese children's toys. And the second is that I am kind of worried that this year's new season of Precure might be genuinely interesting. For those of you who haven't watched my videos from the last few years or so, Precure is a magical girl franchise produced by Toei Animation and a bunch of other anime production committees and toy companies and whatever. It is primarily aimed at young girls, but I think magical girls are a very cool genre anyway, and they can do a lot of fun stuff with it. So I've basically been watching it for over 10 years now. Because it is at the end of the day still aimed at young children, especially young girls, there will often be cases where there are years of pre-cure where I'm like, okay, this is almost too childish, this is almost too girly, I'm not really that into it, the theme I'm not really that into, and I don't really care. But sometimes it feels a bit different and I actually genuinely get into it. Of course, my tastes are kind of subjective, but it gets to situations where if Precure does something that feels genuinely different, genuinely interesting, and maybe the kind of show that probably wouldn't exist in any other format, I'm like, hey, this is actually really fun. Although it can be kind of hit or miss. So, for example, last year's Precure season was all about idols, and I don't really like idols at all, except in the sort of like ironic way. So I didn't really care for that season. But the season before that, Wonderful Precure was themed around animals and pets, and I thought it was really cute and had some really nice character writing, and also had some characters that just kind of almost felt like they were pandering directly to me, even if that wasn't their intention. Sometimes there's just a series of years where I'm like, okay, Precure is on, but I don't really care. But nowadays, I'm much more interested in it. And I think it's also because the franchise has become a bit more, I guess you could say, diverse after the 20th anniversary. They've been doing more risks lately and kind of doing things that, while it is still aimed at children, they are doing things that perhaps might be trying to get sort of either the adult audience or the audience of people who grew up watching Precure and are kind of nostalgic for it. Obviously, that kind of pandering can sometimes be a bit lame and artificial, but if we get good stories out of it, like that could just be genuinely really fun, you know? So, with all of that context out of the way, this year's Precure is detective themed. The moment I heard that, I was kind of like, oh no, I could really, really get into this. Because if you may not know, but I'm also a really big fan of the detective genre, especially things like detective visual novels, detective like adventure games, especially the Japanese ones, stuff like Danganronpa, Zero Escape. I also recently finished reading through Umineko When They Cry, which is just like a gigantic novel, visual novel thing that is almost like a big deconstruction of the entire concept of a whodunit mystery. After doing all that, I'm just so familiar with typical detective tropes and how fun the idea of a mystery and the idea of detectives can be. I'm just like, well, if we're going to do this for magical girls as well, it's almost like they're choosing the theme that is going to directly pander to me the most, even if that's not the intention. And that is very dangerous. So dangerous, in fact, that I decided, um, well, I bought the toys again. So this is the Jewel Cure watch. It is the transformation item for this season of Precure. Meitante Precure, or Star Detective Precure is how they're translating it officially into English. Yeah, so this is the item that they use to transform the two leads, Cure Answer and Cure Mystique. They transform. It's great. I wouldn't necessarily say this is like my favorite transformation item or something about it really immediately called to me. It's more just everything else about the season kind of called to me. And because of that, I felt like this might end up being something I'm going to really, really enjoy. And because of that, I might as well buy these toys now before I might potentially run into issues of them getting sold out or whatever. Because I've got no idea. So here I have it, the Jewel Cure watch. I have it. And I might as well make a video about it. I also kind of just want to ramble on about this season and potential things about this season, while also looking at the toy and showing you guys some of the cool things that these Japanese toys do. Also, before I forget, I also got one other little bit of merchandise, and that was this thing, which is basically like a little bag charm. The idea is that they have a whole bunch of detective tools and stuff, and they also, so what they also had is they made like essentially little miniature versions of all the detective tools, and those things are released separately in blind boxes. And I don't want to get like 10 blind boxes all at once because I don't really care. But this thing is like you can like use that to hang all of the other charms onto it, and then hang that onto like a bag or something, and then it comes with one as well. I just thought it was very cute. I've always kind of wanted to get like some kind of bag charm, and having a Precure themed one after a season like this, I think this is just a really great idea. So I got this. So I always forget to do this, by the way. I'd be like, if I want to be a toy review channel, I should probably do box review. So this is the front. So this is the Jewel Cure watch. This is like the deluxe version. Oftentimes, the way Precure does versions of toys is they do the normal version, which just has like a cheaper version, which is just has the item and the transformation device for the lead character, and then they have a deluxe version, which has all of the little transformation trinkets for every character. But they did it differently this year. This year, the two characters who transform, there's only two characters who transform with this item, and they both transform at the same time. So it doesn't really matter. There's only really two transformation item things, and they basically do the same thing. So what they did for a deluxe version this time, they included two extra little things, little trinkets, and these aren't actually for transforming, but if you put them into the Jewel Cure watch, they play the opening and ending themes of the show, which is something they've kind of been doing, but they haven't really had like separate items for it. But yeah, basically this is their way of doing a deluxe version. Deluxe versions like this, they have like the blister pack, where you can see it and everything, where like the normal versions, the cheaper versions, they will just have just like a plain box, so you can't see inside. This is important, very important toy nerd shit that nobody actually cares about. I just know these facts now, so I have to recite them. I'm like a sleeper agent. You want to ask me about Japanese toys made by Bandai specifically? Now I know all this shit. But yeah, that's the front, and this is the back. It's just kind of a usual thing. It's got instructions and little things about what everything does, and actually that's kind of it. There's a bottom. I like this little like brick. It's kind of to sort of do the sort of detective theme. The one of the sort of like visual motifs they seem to have is this sort of brick kind of pattern, being like, oh, it's like they're investigating the streets and stuff. So it's like you have the bricks of the streets and everything. That's kind of what they did, which I think is it's quite cute, and I like that they put that in the bottom of the box like that as well. So yeah, let's open this thing. Yep. Okay, got it. I got things out. So let's take a look at these things one by one. So first we have the Jewel Cure watch. So this is the Jewel Cure watch. This is the transformation item. It is quite cool. So basically, its gimmick is that it is a, it's like a pocket watch slash like real thing. This isn't like the first time they've ever done a Precure watch, like a watch item. But I mean, it's cool because first of all, it's like like an analog kind of. It's like old technology. It's like not just this like fancy. It's not like a smartphone, and it's also like something that's not necessarily too gendered, right? Like boys and girls and everybody could have a watch, and it wouldn't feel that weird. But now the gimmick for this item, I think actually you can do it without needing to turn any batteries on. Is that it's that. It actually, you can turn the handle, the dial, and then it rotates back like a rotary phone. Which is, I mean, it is very interesting if you really think about it. That this is almost like a gimmick of essentially like old technology stuff. Like this was how you used to call people back in the day, the old rotary phones. And it is actually kind of fitting because there are many things about Star Detective Precure that make them like, oh no, I might actually really enjoy this a lot. And one of the really interesting things about the plot of this season is there is time travel involved, and it involves the main character who is from our current time being sent back in time into the year 1999. I am honestly definitely getting the feeling that that idea is almost essentially a way to kind of pander to adults, to, or the very least appeal to adults. So that the fact that this is a magical girl series in the year 2026 that is taking place chronologically in the year 1999. And there's probably going to be stuff talking about like differences between past and future technology. And so the fact that this is almost using this sort of old technology, I mean, rotary phones were obviously not really a thing by 1999, but, kind of the spirit of it, right? It's interesting having this almost nostalgic feeling to the toy, right? It's a very interesting gimmick. And the fact that you can do it without needing batteries as well is quite interesting. Although it makes it maybe a little bit less interactive than maybe it could be in terms of the battery stuff and the electronic stuff. But yeah, so that is give you an idea. If I show you the back as well, the back's fun. Is that it has got a picture of Pochitan, who is like the main fairy, or there really is like the fairy for this duo in it. And also, they are voiced by Emery Kato, who voices Cube. So anybody who likes magical girls is like, oh no. It looks like there's only like there's no A mode or B mode this time. It's just turning on and off. There is a little clear thing, and this is a thing that lights up, but it's only this part, like the rest of it doesn't. This is where you put the transformation device on. There is a string at the back, so in case you want to wear it like a necklace or something, it's just kind of already on there, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's I mean, it's honestly also it's a bit smaller than I expected it was going to be. Just I guess the way that they hold it in the show makes it just seem like it's huge, but like it is surprisingly compact. Like it is obviously bigger than any sort of real watch would be or clock in general, but it's it's too big to kind of feel like some kind of stopwatch or whatever. But it is still a pretty good size. I do enjoy this. I think this is pretty cool. And so it comes with the four Makoto jewels, which are the little trinket items for this season. Makoto being like a kind of meaning like truth or sincerity, or I think if it's like the kanji, it means a lot of stuff. I was recently playing Fate Granddaughter, and they have a thing about the Shinsengumi, and they have a whole thing where like they have a banner that's like Makoto, and they're talking about like anyway, stupid Japanese shit. So anyway, here's the four of them. There's this is for Cure Answer, who is the main Precure, who is a purple one, is the main one. Normally the pink one is the main one. This year the purple one's the main one. Also, by the way, one time I wrote a Precure fan fiction, and the name of that character was Cure Answer. It was, don't worry about it. But I feel super validated right now. This one's Cure Mystique is the pink one. I think what I like about these is that they are the jewels in the center are a lot more colorful than I expected they were going to be. In terms of like transformation gimmick items, I don't really like them as much as say like the sky tones or from Hiragara Sky or anything, because those have a bit more of a function than just looking pretty. So those ones can spin and stuff. These don't really have any extra gimmicks to them, but at least it's nice. I think I like them more than the ribbon things from You and Idol Precure from last year, just because those ones weren't just shiny, really. They were just kind of essentially just plastic. They didn't have any little like diamond things on them. And these are the opening and the ending ones. So they're just kind of generic looking ones. I think they're going to have a whole bunch that sort of just look like this, just random shapes, random colors, just things, this little sort of wing pattern in the bottom, as long as it looks pretty. So I kind of wish it was a bit more clear what these things did, but, you know, extra little pieces of plastic I will not complain about, especially if they do unique things. Oh, and also, I also got one extra bonus, which is this one. This is also a Makoto jewel, but it is the Makoto jewel. You could almost essentially call it like a pre-order bonus, an early buyer bonus, because it is a Makoto jewel like the others, but it is themed after You and Idol Precure, which is last year's season that just ended. Last year's this season, it ends in end of January, and the next season starts beginning of February, basically. So even though I said I didn't like You and Idol Precure when I was pre-ordering, it's like, oh, you can pre-order the one with the bonus extra Makoto jewel. Like, of course I'm gonna do that. Like, it wasn't any extra money, right? So I was like, of course I'll get the one with the bonus thing as well, just so it feels like I've got extra stuff to play with. I guess that's kind of really everything on this. So I might as well put the batteries into this thing and see how it all works. Like I said, it was only one AAA battery, it said. So I think because actually there's not that much in terms of electronics, really. I think it's only really, well, the sound, which comes out the speaker out of there, and the light, which is only this thing. So they probably don't need like lots of lights in it. So maybe that's why it only uses one battery. Normally there's like at least two or three. But yeah, I'll try and open this thing. I probably need a screwdriver, so I'll get all that ready. Okay, I'm back. That actually took a while. I thought I had the wrong screwdriver and I had to get a new one, and it turns out I was okay, but then wasn't doing it properly in the right way. And anyway, whatever. All that matters is I have managed to get the batteries into this thing with a bit of help. But there are batteries in this thing now, so And I just tested it as well to make sure it works. So it works. So let me show you guys what this can do. All right, let's go. So yeah, there's the thing that bit lights up, but it's as usual, like these sorts of toys nowadays. I guess it's very much like if you don't, after a few seconds, it's like, hey, put the thing on and play with me. Don't just leave me here and waste the battery or whatever. That bit lights up, makes some noises, makes some sounds and stuff. And the Makoto jewels go in here. I've watched the first episode of the anime has come out and stuff as well, and I've watched the transformation sequence a few times, so I know exactly what you need to do, whether or not you actually need to do it or it'll just do it by its own. But to fully do the immersion, let me show you how it works. So you go. So you take one of the Mikoto jewels. I'll take your answers. Set it on there. So let's go. And there you go. That's what it does. That's the whole transformation sequence. Obviously, you probably don't need to actually do the dials or do it to specific numbers. I don't think it even really registers specifically where you've turned it to. It only registers when it's moving and when it actually hits the 12. But I think it's very cute. The transformation sequence itself, like it's like the stock footage is like a minute 40 or something. It's an incredibly long transformation sequence, but it's very cool. It's an Ishiki Itoka animated one, which means it looks really cool. So yeah. Yeah, it looks like the thing just plays as normal, even if you don't do the thing. Actually, I think pretty sure that was well if you do. Right, okay. And that's also one of the reasons between the difference between doing it, having cure answers in there and cure mistakes is I think there was another group attack, so if I do it again, I think, if you do it again. Yeah, that's what they did in the first episode, so that's like their normal, like, group attack thing. And then if you press the button while the thing's in, so yeah, basically, and then yeah, if you just do this again, it's just okay, yeah. So basically, that's that. So that's what you can do with it. So you've got your transformation. You've got 2 attacks per Makoto jewel, although one of them is the same, and that's basically it. Although so I can do cure mystiques now, but spoiler warning: cure mystiques to the transformation thing is exactly the same. So I'll just skip that and show you the other bits. So yeah, the transformation's the same because the 2 of them transform at the same time. So the difference, I think, is these hacks. So, oh, interesting. Also, it's pink at there instead of purple because it's mystiques. So she has a shield, probably. I think we've seen it in the intro. And the second, oh, you can actually see because this one's the rainbow one because it's the group attack. So yeah, I think yeah. See, so that yep. It tells you which one it's going to do by the color of the thing, which is clever. And then so yeah, basically it also has some voice lines, and they're Cure Mystique's voice lines. So they're also different. So they're also unique. The voice lines, those ones, they're not the same ones that are in that you can just do if you just turn it on like this. These are different ones. I love that one where it's Mystique being like the Joe Cure Watch is the Precure's transformation item. I like how there's like I'm going to be the smart one and try to be informative about my toys. So the other ones are the opening and ending ones. So let's try those ones next. I don't remember which one's which, but let's just put one in and see what happens. Okay, this is the opening one. Get a nice little rainbow light. What happens if you press the button? Okay, it's just the one noise. So yeah, the idea is like, you can go around and sing along to it, yada yada. That's the opening one. The ending one is this one. This one's the endings are pretty good. It's kind of a banger. It's just got this like fun little like 90s aesthetic with like a kind of like desaturations and scan lines kind of mimic a CRT and just all these really cute little things like that. Anyway, those are those ones. And I guess the other one is the special Cure Idol one. So let's a special Kimito Idol, You and Idol Precure pre-order bonus slash early order bonus slash baton touch item, baton pass item. Anyway, it's interesting because it actually has Cure Idol Cure Idol's voice lines, which doesn't always happen. You have an actual voice line of another character who isn't the they didn't just go and shove Cure Answer and Cure Mystique's voice actresses in a room and be like, you have to read all these things out, and that's it. They obviously got somebody else as well to do it, which I think is quite cute. Also, it was interesting the color. They used a different color pink for Cure Idol as opposed to Cure Mystique because see that's the pink. That's the pink they use for Mystique, and then this is that's the pink they use for Cure Idol. I guess you can't really see much of the difference here, but it's like a more hot pink, which I think that's very interesting. That's pretty much everything you can do with the Dual Cure watch. So in terms of playability, I guess you could say there's not really as much as there used to be. They used to often have a B mode, which is just for games and letting you have little games, even if those games were like press the button 3 times or press the button a random number of times and we'll tell you your fortune, or like just things like that. They didn't do that this year, and I don't know if that's because like that Bandai is cheaping out and they want to make things, they want to make these things cheaper and they want to make them make less effort and cut costs to try and keep the profits up, or if it's just they realize that people don't like them or they're confusing, or who knows. The people's perceptions are changing. The people want to more use these for role play than using them for playing games. Honestly, got no idea. But I think the design is cool. It's like I said, it's probably not my favorite one, but and this is the big but. I think I'm going to really enjoy Star Detective Precure. At the very least, there's going to be a lot that I'm going to enjoy. At least kind of a silly like me meme kind of making references to other detective fiction thing. And if I end up enjoying it even more, then well, yeah, I do want to have something like this by sort of saying like, look at me, I've got all the pretty cure items for the pretty cure that I like. So yeah, it's basically the reason. I like the idea that I can buy these things. So that's basically it.